Hello students, welcome to this session JEE Main Test 104 and I am with the physics analysis. Now here what I feel, this paper should not be attempted by you. Ideally I have already told you no need to do this NT Abhyas because the tests are now approaching, and plus this question I have 3 questions which are too tough to calculate, even tough to calculate with a calculator, and even in 10th I don't know what formula they are using. 21 is also very calculative. So these calculations might stump you in the middle of the paper. Otherwise you can see the rest of the analysis, but I strictly advise don't do it until unless you want to be, let's say, want to go for an adventure ride, you can try it. So as per me, let's say if you can search out easy and medium, if you can in midst of these calculation blunders, so then you can get 13-14 questions, so you can get 50 plus marks in that case, but I doubt how many will get if they actually attempt this paper. So I'm not going in other detailed analysis, there's no point in giving it. Just see the paper if you wish. My straight advice, don't got late today also because I was having a migraine attack from the night and it was tough for me to concentrate. I somehow decided to make this paper, and these calculations made me wonder it would have been better if I had not solved it. Now let's start. A boat which has a speed of 5 km per hour in still water crosses a river of width 1 km along the shortest possible path in 15 minutes. The velocity of the river water in km per hour is. So we know for the shortest possible path it is something like this. The boat is rose in with respect to river like this. The river velocity adds up and it finally is the VB. So it goes perpendicularly like this. So the time taken, you say, would be equal to width upon VB. So that is width upon VB, and that is given as what, 15 minutes, that is 1/4 hour, and width is 1 km, so VB comes out as 4 kilometers per hour. And from the Pythagoras theorem you can say VB would be equal to VBR square minus VR square. So VR you can find out as under root of VBR square minus VB square. VBR is given as 5, so 5 square minus 4 square, that is 3 kilometers per hour. You can go for option B here directly. Next, when a battery of EMF 8 volt with internal resistance 0.5 ohm is charged by 120 volt DC supply using a series resistor of 15.5 terminal voltages. So first of all, current in the circuit would be, it would be 120 minus 8 over 16, you can write, that is 112 over 16, so that comes out as 7 amperes. So because it is charged up, so that V terminal would be equal to E plus IR, so that is 8 plus 0.5 into 7, so that would be 11.5 volts. Go for option A here. Next one, electric field in a space is this, I minus K. Let's say what is the potential difference between points A and B. The coordinates are 403 and 1030 meters. So you can directly say potential difference VAB or VA minus VB or VB minus VA, whatever you can write, what we need to know between A and B. So let's say the potential difference VB minus VA, you write it as minus E dot ds from A to B. Because E is constant, I can directly write it as minus E dot delta S, and delta S would be, and that is B minus A. If I do, it would be 10 minus 4, that is 6i cap, 3j cap minus 3k cap, and E was given as 4i, so minus I can take it here, so 4 into 6 and 0, y will be 0, and it would be minus 5 into minus 3, so it also becomes plus. So minus 5 into minus 3 is 15, and 24, that is 39, so it would be minus 39 volts. Go for option A in this case. Next one, 3 concentric spherical shells of radii ABC, C highest, A lowest, having surface charge density sigma minus sigma sigma. If VA, VB, VBC denote the potential of the 3 shell, then for C equals to A plus B we have, again, now how to do this. So you have 3 shells, 1, 2, 3. This is A and B and C. This is sigma minus sigma and plus sigma again. Okay, and C is equals to A plus B. Okay, so what we will have, so first of all the potential of the innermost one, so the A shell potential due to its own charge would be sigma A upon epsilon naught, due to the outer one would be sigma B upon epsilon naught because in center side point, plus due to the outermost one would be sigma c upon epsilon naught. So it is sigma a minus b plus c by epsilon naught. But for b we can write as, for b what we will write, for b, because it is for a it is an outside point, we will write it as k qa upon, you can say, b square. Due to b is sigma b by epsilon naught, due to c would be sigma c upon epsilon naught, and what I can write as qa is sigma upon 4 pi a square. So if you put it, this is 4 pi will cancel up, this will be epsilon naught. So it would be, what you can make it out, it would be b, sorry, not b square, this is the wrong thing to do, right? So it would be what I can write, sigma a square by b. So sigma a square by b, epsilon naught common, minus b plus c, like this we have. Now last one, and in the similar style we can write for this would be a square by c minus b square by c plus c. That is what we can write. So what we are left with now, so we have to check these values. So what will be these values now? C is equals to a plus b, that is what you are given. So first of all, what is given? C is equal to a plus b. Now if I compare, this is a minus b plus c, this is a square by b, definitely this term is less than a, so clearly VA is greater than VB. That is the first thing I am getting, VA is greater than VB. And what is VC? If I can simplify it like a square minus b square, I can write it as a plus b into a minus b upon c plus c. So a plus b is c, so it is a minus b plus c, that is coming out as same as a. So what we have, VA is equal to VC, and that is VB. So go for option D in this case. So this is how you can solve this nice question. Tuning fork frequency 340 Hz is, and tolerance plus minus 1% is used in resonance column method for determining the speed of sound. If the first and the second resonance lengths are there, is the permissible error in the speed of sound is, you know, V is equal to, what you write, V is equal to 2f L2 minus L1. So what I can write, delta V by V would be delta F by F plus delta of L2 minus L1 by L2 minus L1. That is what we can write. And this delta of L2 minus L1 in above, using our analysis, that would be delta L2 plus delta L1. You can say maximum errors in both upon L2 minus L1. That is what you can write. So what we have, delta V by V in percentage term, delta F by F, it is 1% is given, and here what you have, 24.0, 74.70. So in the measurement of L2, the error is 0.01 as seen from the data, and here it is 0.1 I can see from the data. And L2 minus L1, if I do this L2 minus L1, this comes out as 54.70 into 100%. I should do into 100%. So what we are left with, this is 1%, this is 0.11 upon 54, you can say 11 upon 54.7. So it would be, you can say 10 by 50 was approximately, 10 by 50 was 2 by 10 or 0.2%, so it would be 0.2 relatively, or around 0.2, so it would be closer to 1.2% in this case. Go for option A, it is the only closest one. Next, the weight of a body on the surface of the earth is 63. What is the gravitational force on it due to earth at a height equal to half the radius of the earth? So at half the radius of the earth, G will become gm upon r plus r by 2 whole square. So that comes out as 4 by 9 gm by r square, or you can say 4 by 9 g at surface. So weight will also become 4 by 9 times of the weight, which is 63. So this is 774s are 28 Newton. You can go for option A. Again, this is not tough one for you. Next, two identical beakers A, B contain equal volumes of two different liquid at 60 degree each, left to cool down. Liquid A's density is given, specific heat is given, B as a density greater than that, specific heat also greater. Which of the following best describes the temperature versus time graph? So again, remember in that rate of cooling thing that you write in the Newton's law, let's say if you write that, you write as K is K theta minus theta S. So this K factor we know is proportional to EA upon MS. So emissivity is same, so it is inverse to MS. The second one will have more density, that means more mass. The second one, sorry, B1 has more mass and more specific heat, so its K would be lesser. so its K is lesser, so its rate of cooling would be lesser. So A will cool faster, so A will cool faster, so there will be only option B I can go for, because A will definitely cool faster. Next one. A mole of monogas is taken from A to another point n along the path ACB. Okay. The initial temperature at A is T0. Calculate the heat absorbed by the gas in the process A to C to B. Okay. So AC is isobaric and the volume is doubled at constant pressure, so it is T0, so it becomes 2 T0. Here pressure is doubled at constant volume, so again temperature will be doubled, that is 4 T0. So first of all QAC, because isobaric I can directly write, and Cp delta T, 1 mono means 5R by 2 is Cp, delta T means T0. QCB would be NCB delta T isochoric, 1 into 3R by 2, and here the change in temperature is 2 T0, so it comes out as 3R T0, that was 2.5 R 5 by 2 R T0, so total QAC plus QCB 5 by 2 plus 3 times R T0, so it is 3 to the 6, 11 by 2 R T0. Go for option A, again not tough one for you. Next, the magnitude of the magnetic field at the center of an equilateral triangular loop of side 1 meter which is carrying a current of 10 ampere is. So here what we can do, let me draw this triangle. Okay, it's a slightly bigger one, let me try again. Okay, and let us try. I've taken the wrong shape. Yes, what is happening? Let me try by, let's leave that auto shape, it's not coming. Let's try last time. Okay, this is an equilateral, let's assume now. So what we can do, this is at the center, so you know at center the angle subtended from the both sides would be 30 and this R perpendicular you know is 1/3 the length of the median, and that you all remember 1/3 of root 3 A by 2, that becomes A by 2 root 3 if A is the side length. Okay, so I can calculate due to 1, due to 2 and 3 will be same, so directly I can say 3 times of B1. So first of all B1 would be mu naught I upon 4 pi A upon 2 root 3 cos 30 plus cos 30 root 3 by 2 plus root 3 by 2, that becomes root 3. So it becomes 3 to the 6 mu naught I by 4 pi A, and due to all net field would be thrice of this, that is 18 mu naught I by 4 pi A I can write. So it is 18 mu naught by 4 pi is 10 to the power minus 7, I is 10 and A is 1. So you are left with 18 micro Tesla. Go for option C in this case. This is the answer for the 9th. Next, bar magnet is a magnetic moment of 5 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber meter. Suspended in a field of induction, the magnet vibrates with the period of this, the MI is. Now here there is a catch. If you check the unit, this is 5 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber meter, and what I know the unit of magnetic moment M I write, that is NIA, that is ampere meter square, and this is Weber meter. And Weber, if you talk, Weber is the unit you use for the magnetic flux. That magnetic flux means that is Tesla meter square, that is basically that you write. So this Weber meter is not exactly the unit we talk of M, it is basically what we can say, it is the unit of mu naught times M. But you do this mu naught times M, that is given as 5 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber meter. So this is a catch. I have not seen such question previously, so this might trouble up you. So the value of M would be 5 upon mu naught into 10 raised to the power minus 5 ampere meter square, that you can write in your normal units. So if you don't do this, there will be a catch and answer won't come which you want. I am saying this because I am doing it second time. For the first time I took the M at the given value and the answer was none of the given option. That was the lucky one for me, and then I checked what's the issue in it. Okay, so the time period would be 2 pi under root of moment of inertia upon mb. So now moment of inertia can be written as t square mb upon 4 pi square. So t square is 225, m is what you have, 5 upon mu naught. So 5 into 10 raised to the power minus 5, this is mu naught you can write, and here you have 4 pi square, and b gives you what, b is what, 8 pi into 10 to the power minus 4. So now you check, this is what I can write, this 4 pi, this pi goes, and this 4, this becomes 2, So what we have, 2 to 5, 10, 10, this would be 10 to the power minus 8 into 2 to 5 and mu naught pi. Mu naught you know is 4 pi into 10 raised to the power minus 7 into pi. So what we are left with, this is goes there, this is 10 to the power minus 1 if I write, okay. This is 10 to the power minus 1 into 2 to 5, you can write upon what we have is that is what we have now in the down, it is 4 pi I square. But still none of the option is coming. I am leaving it. I think there is some mistake in it, and the solution they have done, they have taken as 2 pi under root I upon mh. The formula we remember is 2 pi under root I upon mb. I am leaving it, no point in doing it further. Now the next one, 11th. Assuming that 4 protons combine to form a helium nucleus and 2 positrons each of mass, calculate the energy release, give the mass of this, this is given, okay. 4 protons combine to form a helium and 2 positrons each of this, okay. So 4 protons, that means 1 H1 4 times gives you what you are giving, 4, okay. Let me write 4 helium like this, 4 helium plus what you have, 0 2 positrons, let's say 2 positrons you are getting. So what you have to find the energy release. So energy release would be delta m into c square. The initial mass is 4 into 1.007825. 4 5s are 22, that is would be 10, then 1 9 2 28. Let me do it again, I think I am doing some mistake. 4 5s are 20, 4 2s are 8, 10, and 10 1 goes, 4 8s are 32 and 1 33, 3 4 7 28 and 3 31. This would be 0, 4.031300, okay. And this mass for helium, 4.002603, and 2 times this, 2 9s are 18. This would be 9, 10, and what we are left with, 2 zeros. So this is 8 and 3 11, this is 10, this would be 7, this would be 3 0 0 4 point. So the difference of mass, if you do it, the difference 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 0 9, 12 minus 7 will be 5, and this is what you have, 10 minus 3 would be 7, this would be 2.02751 U. So that energy released, or that whatever Q or energy released would be delta m into c square, 0.027599 into 931.5. that is what you are going to write. Now what you will write here, again it's not an easy thing for you. Let me do some approximate, and let do like this. So just reduced it and just increased it. Approximately I think we should get 28 3s are, you have 84, 28 9s are 280, 260, 252 and 8 260. So 26.04, that is what I am getting based on this super approximation. Let me check. Okay, so it seems this is 26 because I have taken this 275 I did more approximation, but still I can make it out. It would be closer to this, so go for option A. That would be the closest thing to do. Next, simple SHM, amplitude 8, travels along positive x at a given instant. A particle at a distance 10 from the origin, the displacement is 6 unit, and for a particle at a distance 25 from the origin, the displacement is 4 unit. Calculate the wavelength. Using the standard expression A sine omega t minus kx type of thing, or plus phi, whatever we can write. So first thing is at a, what we have at 10 centimeters, so y is 6 you can say as a y by a. I can directly write that would be 3 by 4 would be sine of omega t at the same instant minus kx, k into 10 centimeters, and this 1 by 2 would be equal to sine of omega t minus what you have, k into 10. 10 means sorry, not 10, it is 25 centimeters. So what how you will do this? Now this angle I know that I can equate as let's say pi by 6 or 5 pi by 6, whatever we can do. I don't know how to do this, how to equate to this particular thing, and this is not going to be that easy thing for me. Let's say let it be pi by 6, omega t minus k into 25 centimeter is pi by 6, that I can do. Now for this I can simply say omega t minus k into 10 centimeter is sine inverse of 3 by 4. I don't know what that value is exactly, So now if I do, I subtract, this is negative, I do, and this is positive, I do, add them up. So it would be k into 15 centimeter would be equal to sine inverse 3 by 4 minus pi by 6. So k is 2 pi by lambda into 15 centimeters. Now I am left with no choice because I don't know what is sine inverse 3 by 4, and you need to do in that radian thing. I am taking out my calculator because I don't have any option left. I don't wanted to use it, but there is nothing I could do. So let me try it. So if I try it, the value that is coming, that is 0.58 radian, and that is approximately what I am getting in this. I don't know how you will calculate. This is not a right question to give to you in the examination until they are providing you a calculator. Minus pi by 6. So minus pi by 6 you will do, what is pi by 6? Let me do it again. I will do, so that lambda thing would be 2 pi by, that is 30 pi centimeter upon 0.85 minus pi by 6. Now do your calculation. It's not an easy one, so no point in doing it. It is 250 coming out, but I don't think this question can be done by you in examination hall. A tiny spherical oil drop carrying a net charge Q is balanced in still air with vertical uniform field like this. When the field is switched off, the drop is observed with a terminal velocity this. Given G is this, viscosity of the air is this, and density of the oil is this, the magnitude of the Q is. When this field is switched off, the drop is observed to fall with terminal velocity like this. Okay. So when it was stationary, there was no terminal velocity or something acting, so you can directly say Q into E is equal to mg, and you have to find the value of Q. So, and when it is in falling, the terminal velocity, you remember that you all know is 2 by 9 pi r square g, but I don't want to go into that pi r square term. So better at the falling time that viscous force 6 pi r neta v, that would be equal to mg. So what you have, 6 pi r neta v equal to QE. Now what data you have? You have the data of density is given, and whatever is given, terminal velocity is given. So that's 6 pi r neta vt, that is you know. So you need to know this radius value. So radius I can write 4 by 3 pi r cube into density, that would be equal to mass. So mass is given or not? Mass is also not given like that. Okay, so you are left with, again, this is not a calculation easy thing. I need to do something. Let's say don't write it QE straight away. Let me check first of all. So R I can write from here as, it would be 6 pi r I have to write, sorry, 6 pi neta vt, and this r I can write as 3 mg upon 4 pi rho to the power 1 by 3, that is equal to mg. Okay, so oh my god, how do you have to check this value of mg from some out from here? So what you get this mg as, let me try it. What we'll do, we'll have to cube this, otherwise no other option seeming to me. So 6 pi neta vt cube 3 mg upon 4 pi rho is equal to mg cube. So what you have, mg would be now in square of thing, or mg whole square would be, oh my goodness, how to calculate, you will, I don't know, q square e square. So q square would be 6 cube, I can write 216, pi cube I can write as pi cube, and neta to 1 point. This paper is actually not going to give me a easy time, I feel. Vt 2 into 10 to the power minus 3, and you have to, what you have to do, you have to cube them also. And this is 4 pi density 900, and e square, what is e? 81 pi by 7 into 81 pi by 7 into 10 to the power 10. Now I am doing the calculation on calculator. I am fed up with this. So this q, if you will solve it, comes out as like this. I don't know how you will do these questions. whoever has set this paper was not in the good mood, I think. Then glass lens has an optical power of -5D in air if optical power in a liquid medium with refractive index 1.6. This is a question that has been asked in IEEE previously. So here the important cheese is, the thing is, power in a medium would be equal to refractive index of the medium upon focal length in the medium. It is not 1 by f here. That 1 by f, that misconception is there because of the air thing generally we write. So this is the thing that confuses many, and because of this I also for many years taught a student that the data might not be right in this question, but the data is right. So what you can write, 1 upon f in air would be 1.5 minus 1 into whatever be the geometrical dimensions. So 1 upon f in medium would be 1.5 upon 1.6 minus 1, whatever be those geometrical dimensions, divided f in medium upon f in air, that comes out as 0.5, this comes out as minus 0.1, that is 1.6, so that becomes minus 8. So focal length in medium would become, minus 8 into minus 5, that becomes what you can write, plus 40 diopters, not diopters, sorry, that would be what you can say, okay, that was a power given, okay. So what we can say, focal length in medium is minus 8 times focal length in air, so that is minus 8 by 5 that you can write. So minus will become plus, sorry, so plus 8 by 5. So now the power would be 1.6 upon 8 by 5, which is 1.6, so this would be plus 1D. So go for option A in this case. Next one. From a solid sphere of mass m and radius r, a cube of the maximum possible volume is cut. Moment of inertia of cube about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to one of its faces is. First of all, out of the cube, if you of the sphere you get the cube of maximum volume, you can directly say the maximum distance in a cube root 3a would be equal to 2r. So a would be equal to 2r by root 3. So first of all, what we can say, the mass ratio or the volume ratio, its volume would be what you write, a cube, and that volume you write as 4 by 3 pi r cube, that would be equal to mass of cube upon mass of sphere. So what I can put, a cube I can put as 8r cube upon 3 root 3 into 4 by 3 pi r cube goes, 3 and 3 goes, that is m of cube upon m. So m of cube, the cube mass comes out as this would be 2 by root 3 times the mass of the 2 by root 3 times the mass of your sphere, if I have done it right. No, it is not 2 by root 3, it would be 2 by root 3 pi. Now mi of the cube, you write about center and perpendicular to one of its faces, let's say maybe like this or whatever be it. So you remember this cube mi, directly you always remember this is equal to ma, what you write is ma square by 6, that is what you write, that is equal to ma square by 6, that you all remember. So that is ma square by 6. So what is m here? M is 2 by root 3 pi m. A square will become 4r square by 3 by 6. So what we are left with, 2 4s are 8 and 6, what you can, let me write it completely, 8 m r square, 6 3s are 18 root 3 pi. So what we are left with, 4 by 9 root 3 pi. Go for option D here, that is what the answer is coming. Next one. The maximum electron density in ionosphere in morning is this. At room temperature, it increases the ratio of critical frequency. We know this Fc is proportional to root n. So Fc in noon to Fc in morning would be root 2. Directly you can say that is 1.414. That's an easy one for you. Next one. Piece of metal floating in mercury, coefficient of volume expansion of the metal and mercury are this and this. The temperature of both are increased by delta T. The fraction of the volume of the metal submerged in mercury changes by the factor of. So what we can say, that bind force is equal to mg, that you write bind force is rho of hg into volume submerged into g, that is equal to rho of the metal into total volume into g. So that Vs upon V is equal to rho m upon rho hg, that you typically write. That is the ratio of the volume submerged, you write it here. So what we have here, so the volume submerged upon V is rho m upon rho hg, that you basically, right? So now what will happen in the new case, then the fraction of the volume submerged, that depends on rho m upon rho hg, that you can directly make it out. Now the fraction of the volume submerged now would be rho m will now become rho m into 1 minus what I can write, or I can say it is inverse of that volume ratio. So if I can write, it would be 1 upon 1 plus gamma 1 delta T if I have the metal, and there will come as 1 plus gamma 2 delta T. So this would be option A directly, you can say. So the fraction will now become, it will change by this particular factor because the changes directly depend on this particular fraction. So go for option A in this case. Next one. In YDAC, the intensity at point P of the screen is half the maximum intensity in the interference pattern. If the wavelength is lambda, d is the distance between the slit, the angular separation between P and the center is. So intensity is half. What we say I is I max cos square phi by 2. So this is half, that is cos square phi by 2 is half. That means phi by 2 is pi by 4, directly comes out because 1 by root 2 it will come. So phi is pi by 2, and that is equal to 2 pi by lambda into delta x. Delta x you write as d sin theta, or you can write it as dy by d, that is equal to pi by 2. So what you need the angular separation. So angular separation, we'll calculate that angular separation, that would be y by d directly. So that y by d would be equal to pi by 2 into lambda upon 2 pi d, pi goes, so lambda upon 4d, and what we have lambda upon 4d. So this would be sine inverse, tan inverse, whatever you write, lambda by 4d, that would be the option D. Next one. A motorcycle starts from rest, accelerates along a straight path at 2 meter per second square. At starting point there was a siren which produced sound at a constant frequency. How far is the motorcycle gone from the starting point if he hears the frequency at 94% of its value when it was at rest? So that means 0.94 f naught is equal to f naught v minus v of motorcycle upon v. So it is 0.94 v is v minus vm. So v of motorcycle is 0.06 times the velocity of the sound, 0.06 into 330. So 6 3s are 18, 198. So 19.8 meter per second, that I can make it out. This is 19.8 meter per second. So acceleration is given, velocity is given. So what I can make it out, displacement I can make it out as what we can use the third equation, that we write as v square. So 19.8 whole square is u square, that is 0 plus 2 into delta x. So delta x would be 19.8 into 19.8 divided by 4. So it is approximately 400 by 4, or it would be closer to that 100 figure. So 98 would be the answer. I can approximate by 20. So directly we can go, options were far away. Ball dropped from a plate from a height 9. If the coefficient of restitution is half, total distance traveled is. So what we typically remember, a drop from h, speed here becomes e times u, so it will go e square h, come back, then becomes e to the power 4h, and so on. So you must have done this. So h total would be h plus 2 square h plus 2 e to the power 4h plus this would be an infinite gp. So h plus 2e is square h, 1 plus e square plus, so it would be a infinite gp. So it becomes a upon 1 minus e square. So what you have, h minus h e square plus 2 e square upon 1 minus e square, that comes out as 1 plus e square upon 1 minus e square h. So this is the expression that you might be remembering. So 1 plus 1 by 4, 1 minus 1 by 4 times h is 9. So it is 5 by 3 into 9. So that would be 15 meters. So that would be the answer. Go for option B here, 15 meters. Now the numericals. Helium plus ion in the excited state on transition to ground state emit 2 photons in succession like this. What is the quantum number n corresponding to the excited state of helium plus ion? Okay, so it emits 2 energy, 108.5 and 130.4. So first of all, let me check the energy corresponding to both. So the first one is Hc1240 upon 108.5. So it would be 1 and it would be 11, I think, yes. So it's approximately 11.45 eV. For the second one, you have 1240 upon 30.4, that would be 40 something. I can make it out, it would be 40.86 eV. That is what you are getting. Now, So the total difference of the energy would be E1 plus E2, and that would be equal to 13.6 into 4 into 1 upon 1 square minus 1 upon n square. So that is what you have to solve now. So 40 and this is 6 and 5 11, this is 8 and 4 12 13, this is 2, this is 52.31 that you are getting. 13.6 into 4, 4 6 are 24, 4 3 are 12 14, 154.4 into 1 by 1 square minus 1 by n square. So 1 by 1 square minus 1 by n square is 52.31 upon 54.4. So what we are, 1 upon n square would be 1 minus 52.31 upon 54.4. This comes out as 9 and 3 6, 1.69 if I am right. It is no I am not right. Reverse we have to do. And this is 10 minus 1 9 0, it is 2.09 upon 54.4. So we have to looking for perfect square. 54.4 upon 2.09, that would be 25. I can think there could be nothing else other than 25, so that is the only option that I am getting. So it will be closer to 25, so n would be 5. So you can directly go for this. For the excited state is fifth state, or n is 5. That is what you need to remember. Next one, particle m moving in x direction, speed 2v hit by another 2m in y. If the collision is perfectly inelastic, what is the percentage? So what we have, let it be in x direction, so its initial momentum is m into 2v I cap, that one is 2mv j cap, and finally I can write it as 3m into v. So v comes out as 2 by 3v I cap plus 2 by 3v j cap. So what is k initial? K is initial was half into m into 2v whole square plus half into 2m into v square, that comes out as 3mv square. Final kinetic energy would be half into 3m, and if I do this v square would be 4v square plus 4v square by 9, so that is 8v square by 9. So 3 by 2m into 8v square by 9, that comes out as 4mv square by 3. So the loss would be 3 minus 4 by 3, that is 5 by 3 mv square. So percentage loss would be 5 by 3 upon 3 into 100%, that is 5 by 9 into 100%, 500 by 9. So 500 by 9, 9 5s are 45. Now you are left with 45, and this would be again 50, that is 5, 55.555. So this would be in closest integer would be 56. So it would be 56. That would be my answer in this case. Next one, masses m1, m2, m3 connected by strings of negligible masses pass over massless frictionless pulleys such that the portion the string P1 and P2 is parallel to the incline. Okay, and M3 is horizontal, M2, M3 are each 4 kg. So this is 4, this is 4, and coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.25. Incline is 37 degree. M1 moves downwards with a uniform velocity. Find the tension in the horizontal portion of the string. Now what is the value of M1? The masses move such that the portion is parallel. Each and the inclined plane moves downwards. Okay, it is going with a uniform velocity which is going down. M1 is going down. So its pulling force is M1g, and the stopping forces would be, this one is M2g sine 37, and it would be F2. F2 I can write as mu M2g cos 37, and here M3 won't be stopping it. This F3 is stopping it, which would be mu M3g. So directly a constant velocity means M1g is equal to M2g sine 37 plus mu M2g cos 37 plus M3g. So what we, not M3g, sorry, mu times M3g, that you should write. So M1 we are searching for, find the tension in the horizontal portion of the string. Okay, we'll search it, that would be equal to this tension, but let me first find it out, this one. So what we are, okay, in the horizontal portion of the string. So that is an easy one. Why we are doing this? We could directly do this mu M3g because M3 is given. So directly 0.25 into 4 into 9.8. So this is for 1 into 9.8. So answer would be 9.8. You need not to solve anything. Directly you can do 9.8 Newton. Go for it. Otherwise that for M1 you need to do that. Next one. concrete sphere of radius r has a cavity of radius r which is packed with sawdust. The specific gravity of these are this and this. For this sphere to float with its entire volume submerged, the ratio of the mass of the concrete to the mass of sawdust will be okay. So it is floating with pure completely submerged. So buoyant force would be rho of water into 4 by 3 pi r cube g, and that would be equal to the mass. Mass what we have, the density of the sawdust is 0.3 times density of water into 4 by 3 pi r cube, and this would be 2.4 times rho of water into 4 by 3 pi capital R cube minus small r cube. That is what the remaining is. So this 4 by 3 pi rho of water and gg, this all goes not r cube, sorry, this is not going to cut. So this goes. Now what you are left with, r cube is 0.3 r cube plus 2.4 r cube minus 2.4 small r cube. So this goes there. 2.1 small r cube is equal to 1.4 r cube. So r cube would be equal to 2 by 3 times r cube. That is what you are getting. r cube is 2 by 3 of r cube. So now what you have, you need to check the ratio of the masses. That means this ratio, this upon this. So concrete mass was 2.4. I can cancel out all those factors. So r cube minus r cube would be r cube by 3, and it would be 0.3 into r cube by 2 r cube by 3. That is what you can write. So this goes 2.4 upon 0.6, so that is 4. I can make it out. The ratio is 4:1 in this case. Next one, last one, sorry. The period of a small oscillation of the surface of liquid drop depends on surface tension, density of liquid, mean radius r is like this. If the measurement in the mean radius of the drop, the error is 2%, in surface tension and density both are 1%, error in measurement of time period is. So first you need to find that xyz. So surface tension, you know, force upon area, so that comes out as ml minus 1 t minus 2. No, not force upon area, sorry, force per unit length, so mt minus 2. So surface tension, you know, is mt minus 2, and the density, you know, is ml minus 3, and radius you all know is length, and time period is t. So for getting time period, you need s to the power minus half for sure, that then you can have. So if you have s to the power minus half, so you will have rho to the power half to cancel that mass. And now what is length remaining? Length is minus 3 by 2, so you need plus 3 by 2, so r would be 3 by 2 you need to calculate. So this is what you get. So calculating this, what you get, x is minus half, y is plus half, and z is coming out to be what it is, 3 by 2. That is what you are getting. So this is what the result you will be getting. So if I do the error analysis, delta t by t would be half plus minus doesn't matter. So half times 2% plus half time, okay, it is in radius is 2%, sorry, in surface tension it is 1%, in density 1%, and in radius it is 2%. So 3 by 2 into 2% you can do. So 0.5 plus 3%, so it is 4%. You can go for. Nice question based on dimensions and errors. So that was today's paper, and as I told you, it is better leave it. No point in breaking your hearts before the exam.